Hi everyone, good morning, happy Monday. I'm sorry I'm a bit late. I was running a little bit late anyway and I decided to prioritize the making of a cup of tea. Sorry, nothing's going to be more important than that. Morning, hi Marianne, sorry I'm a bit late. How are you all? Happy Monday. Today I am going to talk about something specific, but please let me know how you are, how you're traveling, what's showing up for you, what's coming up, what are you working through. There's lots and lots of people with physical stuff. I'm noticing lots of physical symptoms coming up for people. Last week we talked about the fact that what we're up to in this journey, and that 2022 feels like the energy of the removalists have moved in. And they're moving the stuff that we haven't looked under or behind in a really long time. And so a lot of stuff is coming up that could be quite disheartening for you. And what I want you to know is that it's not stuff you haven't worked on. It's not stuff you've been in denial about. It's not even stuff you've suppressed. It is stuff that you couldn't get to until you moved the other stuff, right? So it's stuff that you couldn't get to until you were at this level. See, because that's the thing. Please allow yourself to remember that at each level of mastery, more stuff, hi Sue, more stuff at each level of mastery, you have the ability to look at things at a deeper level. And that is why the stuff kind of can look like, oh my God, here it is again. Hi Fiona, here it is again, here it is again. It's not that. It's here is the next level of it. Here is the deeper level of it. Here is, because it's still always for you. It's still always to teach you. It's your material. It's your gold. It's the thing that you turn into what you then put in your backpack that I've talked about, like that you carry with you of your tools and your awareness and your, it's like once you've transformed it, it goes in there and it becomes part of your mastery, right? It becomes part of your toolkit, okay? So I just wanted to say that. And then, how are you all? What's showing up? What's showing up for you? Is it physical stuff? Is it emotional stuff? Is it relationships? There's so much loss. There's so many people passing away. I know a few people who have just lost so many people in the last 12 months. There's a lot of relationships ending. So just share with me how you are. And I'm going to start talking about what has come to talk about specifically today. It's very much at the forefront. So it's about what do we want? Do we want real living? R-E-E-L. Do we want real living? Or do we want real living? R-E-A-L. Because what's happening, what's really clear is that at every opportunity of going deeper, the ego will take the superficial. And I'm seeing that happen here in channels that are following information that's coming through. Right now, okay, so here's what I mean by that. We can continue to choose the superficial, skimming on the surface kind of living. The stuff where we look to each other for the quick answer, the quick solution. And I want to talk about it specifically in the spiritual world at the moment because I'm seeing it a lot. And people, accounts that I follow, I get it. They're playing to the algorithms. They're playing to the reach of their posts. And videos that are longer than a minute are getting like an eighth of the reach than if you send out a clever soundbite. That, however, is playing to this real living, R-E-E-L, as opposed to real living, R-E-A-L. What it's doing is, as you can see over the decades, that our attention spans have become shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter. There is a very purposeful intention with that for the energies and the folks that want to manipulate us. The shorter our attention spans, the easier it is to pop something in there that'll just get through the keeper. The more focused we are, when we can sit and read a book, we can have our own experience of something. When we can sit in silence in nature, it can speak to us. We can connect. We can start connecting to it to such an extent that it starts to give us messages. Our intuition starts to really become powerful again. We become connected to our imagination. Children will sit for hours and imagine and play games and make up elaborate scenes in their mind. They are coming in with that. The purpose of life is to master that and then to realize that that is how you create your life. It gets hijacked by the Matrix program, and the way to hijack it is to have you unconscious as much of the time as possible. One of the ways to have you unconscious is to make sure that you have a very short attention span. So ads. Ad breaks are great in breaking up a movie because it starts to make us only be able to focus for that period of time. Phones are great because the scrolling, the liking, the quick videos, the quick grabs. Now that's a marketing ploy. It's a very successful marketing ploy. But what it's done is it's dumbed us down. It's made us unconscious. In the spiritual world, what it's done, books like The Secret have taken a universal law, like the law of attraction, and have dumbed it down and have sold it to the ego. It's made it ego messaging for the ego. How can I create the material stuff? How can I create a red convertible in my driveway? Imagine taking a foundational spiritual lesson. Imagine taking something that is vital, a law that is vital for you to understand so that you can powerfully navigate your life, and use it to teach you how to have red convertibles in your driveway. Ego messaging. Now, if I sell a book, let me tell you, the coaches who make the most amount of money are the coaches who teach people how to make money. Hands down. Hands down. Because we want the quick fix. We want the thing that we think money will give us. We want the relief that we think money will give us. And there is a lot in the spiritual realm that I'm starting to see that is that dumbed down messaging of the quick soundbite. Why? Because I can have my spirituality with my coffee in the morning and then I can go about my day. Because I can scroll through, listen to a minute, go, brilliant, that's fantastic, and then go and continue to be unconscious for the rest of the 24 hours minus like a couple of minutes is. Let me know how that resonates with you, and let me know whether you're also seeing this. And it's what actually put me off initially about doing the lives, and why I'm still thinking I'm going to move to YouTube, because of this new feature on Instagram of longer videos of you hear a minute of a video, and then when you click watch more, it goes back to the start. Why? Because it doesn't want you to listen to the rest of it. It doesn't want you to do it. It wants me to come up in your scroll and go, hey, stop scrolling. I've got the key for you to da-da-da, and all that kind of wank and dumbed down shit, where what happens is you get clever little sound bites shared with you, one sentence, 1 minute, and you go, that's fantastic, that's brilliant. And then you walk around going, do you follow so-and-so? They're brilliant. 3 times a day, they throw a statement at me and I go, yeah. Do I live it? Do I absorb it? Do I know what's around it? Do I know why the ego loves that? And what do I know the deeper level of it? Is it helping me to master? No. It's and I've written down here, it's like they're like the equivalent of a diet for a special occasion. So you look fantastic. So they give you that hit of, I feel better. I've just heard that statement and I feel better. I've just read that meme and I feel better. But you only feel better in the moment. You diet for that special occasion. You look great in your photos. How many women do this for weddings? And then they go back to where they were, if not heavier, right? Because it is, there's no depth to it. There's no depth to it. Aurora, hello, how are you? That's why I had to take a week off. It's too much. I do love YouTube as I only have people that empower me on there and no one else. Yeah, so let me know. Share with me, how are you seeing this? Are you seeing this pattern? And I think it's purposeful. Of course it's purposeful on the end from Instagram and Facebook. Of course it's purposeful. What I would like us to start taking responsibility for is how much we feed this. It's purposeful, yes. It works because we play the game. Because our ego goes, yes, I want my 1 minute of spirituality this morning. And then I can tick that off my to-do list and go, yeah, spirituality, done, great. I'm conscious, good-o, let's go about our day. I can listen to somebody say, all's well, it's all on track, it's all going to plan and everything's fantastic, and I don't have to think about my end of it. I don't have to look at what's behind the washing machine, right? I want us to start taking responsibility for the deeper stuff. Let's stop the superficial skimming on the surface living that sound bites give us, that books like The Secret give us, that messages like you're fully in control and you can do anything give us, the whole manifesting thing gives us. Let's start going deeper and going, hang on, I want to know more information so that I can discern, so that I can run it through my own system, so that I can feel into it, so that I can start living it, because really until you live something, it's not really going to change your life. So almost everything I watch or read on social media slips through and it's lost. Yeah. And I get it. I can see the people that are playing to the algorithm, and to tell you the truth, yeah, it's clickbait. It is clickbait, and it's a marketing ploy. But when it's so, I'm not saying that there's people are people, right? People will navigate their own thing, and you will discern people through your own system. And there's no special rule or whatever for someone that has a spiritual channel. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that if we want spirituality, a consciousness that permeates beyond the matrix programming, we need to move beyond the soundbite, right? We have got to stop dumbing down really in-depth lessons and concepts that are actually coming through for us to learn mastery in this place, in this experience, and have them just be little tablets that we pop under the tongue to make us feel better in the moment, right? They're not like 10 drops of your rescue remedy. That is how spirituality is currently kind of being sort of sold from not everybody, because not from me, but from a lot of people here on Instagram. It's being sold like, here's your rescue remedy, pop it on your tongue, you're right to go, you're good to go, and all is well. As opposed to, let's sit in this. How does it resonate with you? What comes up for you? What are you learning? What are you going through? What are you observing? What are you learning about yourself? You need never look beyond yourself to get every answer you're ever going to need. You need never look beyond yourself for any changes that need to be made in the world. So if you come here 3-4 times a day and I give you a nice little soundbite, Fantastic. What are you going to do? You're going to go, oh, I always feel better when I'm there. Yeah, great. Do you feel better in between? Are you learning anything? Are you applying anything? Again, I'm not talking about this having to be free. All of us who do this for free, all this stuff, all this free content that you get is given from a generosity of heart and spirit. It is given from a feeling of this is my purpose in this time. But we're also running a business, right? We're also running businesses and we make money whilst this world is one in which I need money to buy food and pay bills. And in order to take holidays and look after myself so that I show up at my best, I need money. So therefore, yes, you're going to be sold to sometimes. Yes, you're going to have to book in a session if you want advice from me, specifically related to you beyond one of these. Yes, all those things. Yes, all those things for many of us around the world. But in the stuff that we're sharing, let's sit with the people who are willing to go to the depth and not just put a couple of drops of Rescue Remedy under your tongue, because they're actually not doing you a favor. Yes, their following will be large. Yes, the likes on these little 1-minute snippets will be high. It works. We know it works. It's lazy. We just click like on the way through as we're scrolling. But it's not really helping you beyond that one moment of relief. It's not helping you in the rest of your day. Fiona, spot on. I bookmark thinking I'll go back to it and I never get to it. Yeah, and look, listen, I get it too. We have all very specifically been programmed to have less attention. Our phones are doing that. First, the TV did that. Our computers did that. Google did that for a long time. And then when the phones came along, the phones do it. Now social media does it. Now the reels are doing it. The reels. I'm seeing what I'm about to say is not about anybody in particular. And I'm not anti-reels. I think you can get some really good information across. In fact, there's a couple of people who do it really well who've taught me a lot, particularly things about sort of nutrition and vitamins and different things where a snippet can help sort of take me further. But for everyone else, I feel like I'm just watching performing seals. Honestly, I feel like I'm watching people performing for $1 to be thrown at their feet. It's like, what are you willing to do for followers? What are you willing to do? How much are you willing to down your message? And are those followers actually really getting a lot from you? You know? Yeah, what do you think of that? I mean, the crystal world is rife for this. The fucking love and light, hello Haruka. The love and light mentality is exactly that. The love and light mentality is the diet for your wedding of the spiritual world. It's the here's 10 drops of Rescue Remedy under your tongue, all will be well, don't you worry about it. Pay me for this program. Again, I'm not down on anybody. You should be paying people for their programs if their programs are great, right? My programs are not for free. But am I making sense? I'll throw it over to you and ask me some questions if if I'm not being clear on kind of the distinction between what I'm talking about. And obviously, if you've just come in, I will be saving this. So we're talking about the dumbed down versions. We're talking about the sound bites. We're talking about the Rescue Remedy under the tongue rather than teaching you how to actually masterfully navigate this experience, how to... Now, not everyone's capable of that, for sure. Not everybody deals in that level of it. And that's not a slight on them, right? Because people are at different stages of followers and clients, and people who watch your stuff are at different levels of readiness. And so are the people putting out the material. They're at different levels, and so that's a great match. What I want us to do is to take responsibility for this superficial living that we're doing, where we need everything in a minute. If your video is longer than a minute, oh my, I can't be dealing with it. We need to start taking responsibility for that. We need to take responsibility for the superficial level at which we allow messages to come to us, and that we just recognize it's totally talking to our egos. Our egos get off on that. Our egos want now, black and white, simple, easy. Haven't got time, right? The ego's biggest thing is haven't got time. So it wants it now. But let's start taking responsibility for the fact that yes, it's clever marketing. Yes, it's a ploy. It's a ploy to hijack our attention. It's to go, come over here, don't wander too far into there, don't learn too much, don't do too much thinking for yourself, don't connect with your own intuition. Because what happens is when you sit in a space with someone who's very connected to theirs, who starts to remind you of stuff you already know, who starts to remind you of principles that really resonate, that make your body go, I know this. You're connecting yourself. You are then connecting with your own portal and your own, and in fact, portals is the other thing that's really been coming to me to talk about. Your biggest portal that you came in and through is your body. It's your body. It's why we say that resonates with me, because we feel it. A resonance is a feeling. It can be a sound, but you're still going to feel it. So our bodies, so to disconnect us from our bodies is the intention. So to keep you in the mind numbing, here's that, over here, don't look there too long, keep moving, right? Because if you were to stop and touch a tree, you'd be able to connect to it so deeply, you would literally get all the answers you ever need. If you were to be in the moment with your child, they would come up with the most mind-blowing wisdom, and it would be a life-changing bond for both of you, with your animals, with all things. You sit with a book, hear something, watch someone's teaching, go, you know what, that's what I always do. If I have never read a book where there's been like a quote of somebody else or something where I've read and thought that's really good and thought, okay, I'm going to go and read it myself. I'm going to go to the source. The whole thing is to remind you to go to the source. Your greatest connection with the source is through your own body and through nature. The rest of it is just us reminding each other. So some great messages are coming through for sure. Some great messages are coming through. But if we start living permanently in a soundbite reality, where we want everything dumbed down to a minute, otherwise I haven't got time to watch it, then what's going to happen is a lot of that's going to get hijacked. Because what's going to happen is even the messenger will not sit for longer than a minute and share it. And that's easy to hijack. Let me know. Catherine, there is much other than there one time in what most resonates with us, a fine-tuning of our intuition. Yes. Okay, how are you feeling? And Catherine, I hope I'm sending you much love. I hope you are feeling better. So, over to you. Any questions, any comments? How are you traveling? How are you feeling? Do you recognize your own feeding of the dumbed down in a moment? Yeah, even Feel Good and Laurie are also doing 1-minute videos. I like their messages. So, yeah, their messages are fabulous. And I've stopped listening. I have nothing against a 1-minute video at all. I have nothing against it at all. The 1-minute video is the video equivalent of a meme. I love a good meme. I love a good meme. I love a good 1 minute video. But when that starts to become all that somebody creates, again, hey, that's their call. But myself, I want to take responsibility for not feeding that world, and I'm not saying anything other than let's just take responsibility for how much we can start to feed that. And then what happens is, yeah, sure, they're doing it because of the algorithm. You know, the two people that you've mentioned and a lot of others are doing it because of the algorithm. But the problem is when we start to feed the algorithm and that becomes the driving force more so than anything else, what are the consequences of that for all of us? I mean, we know what the consequences are. We're living in them. I remember Phil saying how he hated the reels, but yeah, he now, I guess, had to jump on board. Well, did he have to? Did he have to? I've stopped watching them as well. Yeah. Yeah. There is so much out there. We have to select what resonates. Yes, absolutely. Yes. For sure. And that is your whole purpose here. That's your whole point. You choose what resonates for you. It's going to be different for everybody. Your body is here for that. Your body will help you with that. That's your intuition. That's your gut. That's your portal. Your portal. When you keep it clear, and you stay very in tune with it and you stay very connected with it. I'm gonna talk about this next Monday. Next Monday, let's talk about the body, because it's a whole topic. It's bigger than what I kind of just want to throw on here at the moment. Never watch them. I find myself being distracted with all these Instagram lives. Yeah. It's kind of like the tally, isn't it? And there's a few things on at the tally at the same time, and then you're just kind of scrolling between them. I think my thing is supporting my friends in them, but then when I push the like button, of course, it would just bombard me with more. Yeah. And look, I'm not, as I said, I'm not anti-reels. I think some people do them really well. And I think some really powerful information is being shared through them, right? But it's kind of, I suppose it's the TikTok world coming in and kind of, you know, infiltrating. They can be a great way to bring a message across. They can be very cleverly and well done. They can share a lot of humor, a lot of laughs, some really important information, you know, all sorts of things. But just remember, when you start to live in the real world, the REEL world, you are living in the commercials. You are living in the commercialized world. You are feeding your ego crack cocaine in these little sound bite, short little ping, 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 next one, like, next one, scroll. When you're living in that world, you're not conscious. You're easily manipulated, right? And you're following someone else's path. It is not, let's just remember, that's not living in the real world. REAL. They are not the same. I have my 88-year-old mum staying with me. This is the first time. She has no idea what's going on in the world. She's a lot more relaxed now. Brilliant. I love that. You are setting the tone beautifully so. Thanks for your wishes. Oh, you're welcome, Catherine. I hope you're doing better. I love how you stick with what feels right for you. So good to hear all this. You know, we adapt, we use what life brings us, right? I've adapted my business to the fact that I'm on here talking to you now. That will draw in the people who it resonates with. Some it won't, some it will. It's not that anything is wrong or anything is right. It's not that this is bad and this is good. It's that I'm reminding you that if we want to live in that realm of the soundbite, if we want to live in that realm of the meme only and never read the longer text, if we want to live in the world of commercials, rather than whole movies, if we want to live in just one statement rather than the whole, if we're living in a dumbed down version of, and we're not living in the depth of it. That's just what I want to remind you of. And I want to remind you that it's being done for sure on purpose to hijack our attention, to keep it very short, very short, very, very short. Because when it's short, when we go around again, we forget we've actually been there, and we can just be kept spinning on the spot. Let's take responsibility for it, is what I'm offering you this morning. Let's take responsibility for whether we want to live in the real world or in the real world. I feel people can still zap our energy through online. Oh, for sure. For sure. And them reels is like multiple zaps to me. I can't do it. People. Okay. I'm going to remind you again. This thing that I'm talking into, and this thing, whatever you're watching me on, right? Whether it's a phone, an iPad, or a computer or whatever, is just here because we've forgotten we can teleport. We have forgotten that we are energetic beings who can literally be anywhere we choose at any time. We have forgotten that because that's part of this matrix programming. We forget who we are, we forget our power, and then they sell it back to us. And we buy things to use to talk to each other in this way because we've forgotten that we can without the thing, without the stuff. So for sure, whoever you allow into your home, whether it be through the TV, whether it be through anything, their energy is coming into your home. It's up to you what you allow in. That's why it's so important to discern who you hang out with, who you listen to, who really begin that process. And so next Monday, in Monday's check-in, let's talk about the body and how the body is a channel and how to keep it, how we can really get into that discerning and start to become aware of this. If you plan to join me next Monday, have a think about two things. One, how much am I feeding the real world and not the real world? And is it time for me to move out of the swimming around in the superficial and really get to the depth of things? Because when all we do is swim in the superficial, that has an effect on our relationships. It has an effect on our relationship with ourselves. It has an effect on keeping us from our intuition. It has an effect on all things. It has an effect on the ability for wisdom, the wisdom, source, God, whatever you use for universal energy that lives in all things, that wants to support, that is here to support and guide us. It can't speak to you because your attention span is like this. And you're always looking for relief. You're always looking for the next drops, right? You're always looking for the next drops of rescue remedy under your tongue. And that's the reels, and that's the memes, and that's the sound bites. But they're not real. It wears off. So for sure, I'm not anti-rescue remedies, for sure. But remember, if that's all you're using and you're not putting other things in place, then it's like losing weight for your wedding, looking fantastic in a couple of photos, and then, putting it all back on and then some about a year after the wedding. I love that Laurie doesn't want to do reels. I just can't watch them. Watching just seems to make my anxiety worse. Yeah, because, it's like, do you know what it reminds me to? It's like that music. It's a bit bad. It's a bit mad. Oh, yes, please, Masterclass 101. Okay. All right. I'm throwing it out to you. Any questions? Do we need a card? Yeah. One of those. Two of those. Okay. I'm just going to get the cards. Any questions, let me know. And otherwise, we'll do the cards and get back to, circus world. Exactly. Circus world. Matrix. The Matrix is the circus world. And and I feel like these people are like almost becoming like circus acts performing for the masses. So, 2. Two, 1, 2. Oh, Lordy. How are people physically? Are you talking about the spiritual teachers or just the Instagram people in general? It's not even necessarily, I would say, just Instagram people. I think it's kind of, we all do ads, we all do memes, and we all tailor our message for the quick reach out to somebody, for the quote. We all sometimes live in a quote of our own work or of what we wish to share. My point is, when we start doing it all the time, we get a dumbed down version. We don't get the context. And when, as the consumer or as the client or as the follower, we never get the context, we're not able to take it on ourselves in order to have it, see what resonates with us, discern through it, and then live it for actual permanent relief. And that's what I'm really saying. And for sure, please don't get me wrong, because there's nothing wrong with reels, and there's nothing wrong with memes, and there's nothing wrong with sound bites. In fact, they can be so powerful. Like, I've been watching some of my lives and thinking, you know, occasionally in them, like I'll have a couple of minutes where I say stuff where I think I would actually love somebody to put that into just a video, because that would really help for people to go, oh, okay, that really resonates with me. I want to know more, for sure. Whereas people aren't necessarily going to come to me cold and go, I'm going to watch an hour's video, for sure. But it's when that becomes our world, we must remember we're not living in the real world. We're living in the real REEL world. Okay. These are the Starseed Oracle, Rebecca Campbell. Beautiful deck. The first one is trust the timing. Trust the wave you came in on. Time is not running out. Oh, I love that. I love that because that is what I was saying before, and that's what came to me this morning about, you know, it's like, we haven't got time. Quick, we haven't got time. The world's ending. Quick, Armageddon. Quick, you know, the floods and the tidal waves, and what's next? Quick, the time is running out. And it's like this kind of circus act world of like, okay, you've got 2 minutes, quick, time is running out because I haven't got the attention span. Look how much we're living in lack and in depletion and in not enoughness. And when you swirl around in not enoughness, you are not in your power, and you are not going to actually be able to create anything of any value. We are not going to create through us, the world we want to live in, whilst we're swirling around, spending our time watching sound bites, living in the real world, swimming in the superficial, and going, we're running out of time, oh my God, we're running out of time. That is just going to keep us stuck where we already are. That keeps us stuck in the matrix. And that is exactly why they feed us all of this shit. Okay. And you're not alone. Isolation, physical connection, community. You are not alone. You are not alone. You aren't alone. You are connected to all there is. You are an aspect of all there is. Now, I get it. Many of you are surrounded by people who are not aware, who are not awake. Firstly, I ask you, are you awake or are you just aware? Okay, I'm going to remind you, aware is when you recognize what's going on, you realize, oh, I see what you're doing there, I see what they're doing there, this is all bullshit, this is all crap, that's all lies, I see all that. That's aware. Awake is recognizing all of that, but remembering your power in it. So awake is no longer falling into the victim mentality. Now, when you're awake and you're around a lot of people who aren't aware, that will actually just activate your compassion. Now, you mightn't hang out with them. You might grieve moving on from them. You will honor a whole heap of your own emotions and your own things. But you're not going to feel alone. Because when you're awake, you remember who you are and you remember that you're an aspect of all there is. When you're awake, you can connect with nature and go, all my answers are here. Every animal on this planet holds wisdom and can share it with me. And when you are actually, I feel like a lot of you will say to me, I'm really isolated and I'm really alone. And I would always ask you, how much are you living an aligned life? How aligned are you living your life? Because the more aligned you live it, the easier it is for people to see who you are and what your values are. And then that law of attraction thing that has been bastardized within an inch of its life, dumbed down and sold to you as a way to like create cars in your driveway, that thing that is always working, that is a universal law of how this planet works, will bring you situations and people who resonate with the same values and who are also in alignment with who they are. Now, you might get triggered by that. I think a lot of you are getting triggered because then you're with people who are in alignment with who they are, but then it's not the same as you. And so you go, no, you're not my people. Your people are anybody on this planet who values sovereignty, values freedom, and is aligned with their choices. The choices don't have to be the same as yours. Incredible. I felt like that day one, kids back at school, my hubby said, just breathe. It's first week. Yeah, big stuff. Big stuff. All right. If there's no questions, I'm going to head off. Made the cup of tea, didn't drink the cup of tea. Please know I'm not bagging anybody. I'm not speaking about anybody in particular. Many people are doing it. It is what it is. It will stop having its power and its effect when we don't feed it. Let's be conscious and let's be aware of what we feed by what we click and how easily we're able to be manipulated out of our concentration and out of our consciousness and back into and that circus life of, yes, I feel like I'm always in a hurry, I feel rushed. That will be your ego, Haruka. So just stop, breathe. And even if you just said, what's the hurry? Where are you rushing to? Where are you rushing to? What's the hurry? It's a good question to pose to yourself. You have lots of time, Haruka. You have all the time in the world. So between reminding yourself, I have all the time in the world. I mean, this is the thing. Let's next time talk about time. Let's talk about our bodies. Because time, recently I just sort of had the revelation, and see, this is the thing, when you can sit with something long enough rather than just for it to be a clever quote, is I control time, time doesn't control me. So I got into my car and I was running late for an appointment, which is really unusual for me. I'm someone who's either always completely on time or a little bit early. Even if I'm going somewhere where I have never been before and I don't really know the conditions of driving there or whatever, I just arrive on time. But something did get in the way and I was rushing out the door. And then as I started driving, just this kind of realization, really kind of like I just knew it. You know, when you just get it and you get it and it comes through the body really, because you just feel it in your bones. And it was like, time doesn't control you, you control time. And that is another thing that for sure has been hijacked. Our ability to time bend, our ability to reverse time, our ability to speed it up is actually ours. And it's controlled in this matrix, and we've forgotten that we control it. So 2 things, Haruka. Definitely, if you remind yourself, I have all the time in the world. And next time you feel yourself kind of maybe like that anxious swirling, just stop and go, what's your hurry? Where are you rushing to? And just see what comes. See what answers come. It'll give you a lot of insight. It'll be a good stop to that. It's our minds that rush, not so much our bodies. Yeah, it's our egos. Our egos going, I'm important. I've got busyness to do. I've got things to worry about. I've got people to bag. I've got things to I've got arguments to have in my head for days on end. I can't be spending time reading a book. Right, so let's take back our attention, right? Let's reclaim our attention. Let's reclaim, mastery over our minds is what my work is all focused on anyway. Let's continue to master our minds by reclaiming our attention and, living in the real world. All right, much love, everybody. You're welcome, Haruka. Bye, Marianne. Take care, everybody. Lovely to see you. Have a good day.